China is the world's largest manufacturing economy. However, all is not well with the Chinese dragon as they are facing some of the worst crises. The banks have failed, and the customers are not happy. Banks are so far down that they need protection from the government against the wrath of their customers. Tanks are rolling into the banks, reminding the world of the infamous Tiananmen Square incident. It is not that this is happening in a smaller economy like Sri Lanka, which has gone bankrupt and cannot pay debts. Nor is it another economy, just developing what we describe as happening in China. Why is it happening? If you finish the video, you will understand the reasons behind one of China's most significant economic crises. The Chinese economy is so big that it boasts of being the second largest economy. Yet the account holders in the Zhengzhou People's Bank have been unable to withdraw their life savings for many months. Henan, which translates as River South, is a landlocked province in central China. Panic and disbelief are setting in fast in the country as people cannot access their accounts and money deposited in these banks. The protesters have been calling the media to look at their plight. They say that big central government players use force against them to curb their protest. It is said that despite them fighting for their rights, the government has used police force against them. They hope such calls will help the international pressure to mount on the Chinese government. This is all happening in the Zhengzhou People's Bank in Zhengzhou, capital of Henan province. In Henan, countless tiny banks have blocked the deposits of innumerable people and vanished without permission. As a result, these account holders had no option but to gather at the bank's provincial branch of the Chinese Central Bank, protesting to get their money back. This started a few months back when, citing maintenance reasons, the bank had frozen the accounts of many depositors. This meant that several customers could not withdraw or access these funds. The websites of these banks also showed that they are under maintenance. It continued for 2 months, which started worrying the customers. Since then, no one was heard from anyone from these banks. They have simply vanished along with deposited money, which is said to be in billions. The problem is not just limited to Henan banks, as there are 4 other Chinese banks that are facing liquidity problems. Depositors' money is still being accepted as savings while they cannot withdraw any money. Similar demonstrations to the latest one had been tried in the past, and one had been held in May. However, the crowds have been dispersed by the authorities. According to reports, officials even employed COVID monitors to stop victims of the financial scam from leaving their homes and protesting. When some protesters arrived at the protest location in June, they told international media that when their health status went red, it immediately placed them in quarantine. A group of individuals in white shirts, who were reportedly security officers, also engaged in violence with protesters during the Sunday demonstrations. The government is intimidating and silencing victims, even when they have broken no laws, according to information provided to the media by victims. Investigations have revealed that the ones behind the crime might even be beyond the reach of authorities. Reports claim they have gotten foreign citizenship and escaped the boundaries of China. The government officials are not ready to give back the $6 billion that the fraud has depraved depositors. China's international and social media have started circulating this news like hotcakes. The incident has made it almost impossible for investors in China to feel completely safe about their deposits sitting in Chinese banks. These concerns extend even the state-owned banks. The Big Four are the State Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Agricultural Bank of China, and China Construction Bank. This means that losing trust in the banking system may trigger a collapse of the overall financial system in China. Obviously, this will affect the Chinese economy in a significant way. The buck won't stop within China, but the ripple effect may also impact the world's economies. China's Henan province has seen widespread demonstrations. It has caused general social instability due to the street agitation in China. It is being felt in each nook and corner of the country. Just in the capital city of Zhengzhou, more than 3,000 protesters who are victims of bank financial fraud have appeared to lead the protest. In China, 4,000 banking customers have cut off access to their life savings. Authorities have pledged to start giving victims small payments. Some clients of 4 banks have received assistance thus far. However, over 100 shadow businesses are owned by the alleged fraudsters corporation. which also has influence over at least 13 financial institutions. While the country's authorized interest rates are between 3 to 4%, the institutions implicated apparently offered interest rates were high as 9%. These interest rates attracted many customers to these banks in the first place. The banks claim that these are risk-free rates, which will help the customers grow their money without any loss. However, Chinese banking laws were broken by these banks by advertising online, ensuring they got the deposits. The pandemic became a roadblock in their progress, and liquidity problems arose. These led the banks to prevent cash outflow caused by withdrawals. This happened in April, and maintenance claims have not been updated. As a result, the banks and the accounts lay frozen. The machine declines the request if the customer goes to an ATM to withdraw. If you are adamant about removing it, then the ATM will shut the functioning of the card, claiming it is suspicious of fraudulent activity. Naturally, this has infuriated the customers and caused all this commotion. Investigations have found that these banks embroiled in the scandal had a common shareholder, Henan New Fortune Group. It has been found that this group pushed all the boundaries on the banking laws. Local banks are required in China to confine themselves to their jurisdictions. So these banks decided to take their business on a platform with no boundaries, hence the internet. The banks were not helping their consumers open savings accounts. Instead, they were investing the money deposited into financial products. Financial products are either of the four types. There are four major financial products bought and sold on markets: securities, derivatives, commodities, or currencies. Worse, the money invested went into shareholder accounts and not banks themselves. This happened thanks to the collaboration of bank employees and the New Fortune Group. One executive has been arrested, but the chairman has left the country, suspected to be aware of the stolen $6 billion location. Chinese authorities cannot return the money because it is outside their jurisdiction. These depositors are also eligible for a government-funded insurance scheme, similar to the U.S. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Well, the banks fooled their depositors into believing these were regular deposits covered by government-backed insurance. Still, unfortunately, these banks required the customers to invest in financial products not covered by these regulations. Even the courts did not help. It was held that the banks were not at fault because the employees had conspired with the Henan New Fortune Group, not the banks themselves. Even the Communist Party of China blamed the citizens who got duped by stating that the depositors must look at banks' financial numbers and financial statements before investing. Depositors must ensure their money goes where they want it to go and not fall for false advertising. This statement from the ruling party has helped fan the flames, with many on social media claiming that the citizens must withdraw all their money from their bank accounts. First, a little economics lesson: banks don't have the actual cash you have deposited in your accounts. It is called fractional reserve banking. Banks keep the reserve requirement set by the respective central banks and use the rest as the funds for giving out loans. When someone uses that loan to buy a house, he will once again send the money into an account in the bank. This obviously means when the banks are required to pay off all the deposits, they simply cannot afford it as they have loaned out a fraction of it. Trust is the key here. The customer has trust in the banking system to keep their deposits safe. This is why many countries come up with state-backed insurances for depositors that lose their money due to fraud or other reasons. Yet the fact that the Chinese state insurance will not come to the aid of these victims, that trust is starting to crumble. This is a big sign of worry for the Chinese bank and the economy as a whole. This fire may cause the phenomenon known in economics as bank run. When several clients of a financial institution or other banking institutions simultaneously withdraw their savings out of worry for the bank's stability, this is known as a bank run. The likelihood of default rises as more people pull their deposits, encouraging more people to do the same. Extreme circumstances may arise where the bank's reserves are inadequate to cover the demands. Anticipating this phenomenon, one of the big four Chinese banks, the Agriculture Bank of China, has decided to limit withdrawals. Currently, customers can only withdraw 1,000 yen, or roughly $150. China is going through a challenging period, and this mismanagement might be the worst. Well, folks hope that cleared the air around the Chinese banking fraud and its repercussions on its economy. If you enjoyed the video, you could deposit your like with us. We promised to keep it safe. Also, do subscribe to stay updated and ahead of the curve.